The final round of the 2026 Masters was underway at Augusta National, but Jon Rahm had more on his mind than his golf game. All week, texts had been pouring in not from fans but from fellow players, from European teammates, from people asking questions he couldn't easily answer. Questions about fines, about the Ryder Cup, about whether he was putting his own interests ahead of the team. And as the tournament came to a close, the golf world wasn't just talking about his poor performance on the course. They were talking about something that felt far more damaging to his reputation, a loyalty scandal that had nothing to do with his swing and everything to do with his choices. 3 years, 3 controversies. For 3 straight years, Jon Rahm has arrived at Augusta with a major controversy following him. In 2024, it was his move to LIV Golf, the Saudi-backed breakaway league that divided the sport. In 2025, it was the growing question of whether LIV had made him a worse player. And in 2026, it is his refusal to pay fines owed to the DP World Tour and the very real possibility that he may not be eligible to play in the 2027 Ryder Cup. Golf Channel analyst Eamon Lynch summed it up plainly. This is the 3rd consecutive time Rahm has shown up at the Masters, carrying a distracting story of his own creation. And the criticism this time is the sharpest it has ever been. The deal he refused to sign. Earlier this year, the DP World Tour offered a path forward for LIV players who wanted to maintain their European Tour membership and keep their Ryder Cup eligibility. The deal required players to pay outstanding fines, commit to playing a minimum of 6 events on the European schedule, and accept that the tour would choose 2 of those event locations. 8 LIV players accepted the deal. Tyrrell Hatton signed, Laurie Cantor signed, Thomas Dietrich signed, several others followed. They decided the compromise was worth it. Jon Rahm refused. His reason, stated publicly, was that he disagreed with the conditions. He did not like being told where to play 2 weeks of his schedule. He called it extortion. But his critics pointed out something that is very hard to ignore. Rahm signed a contract with LIV Golf that requires him to play 14 weeks per year at locations the league chooses. He gave up that control completely and willingly for a large sum of money. Yet he is refusing to allow the European Tour to choose just 2 weeks of his schedule. Lynch described this as a significant irony, one that is difficult for Rahm to argue his way out of. Teammates are not happy. The tension is not just coming from analysts and commentators, it is coming from within the European golf community itself. Rory McIlroy, one of the most respected voices in the sport, has been openly critical. He said that at the end of the day, the Ryder Cup is about the team, and no single player is bigger than the team. Justin Rose went further. He said plainly that if you want to play on the Ryder Cup team, you have to be a member of the DP World Tour. The rules apply to everyone. Rahm's response has been to hold his position firmly. He does not like the situation, and he is not going to agree to terms he considers unfair. He has said he believes a solution will eventually be found, and that he has already given ground on several issues during negotiations. But the clock is ticking, and patience among his teammates appears to be running thin. What is at stake? The 2027 Ryder Cup will be held at Adare Manor in Ireland. It is a home game for Europe in every meaningful sense. Ireland is close to Rahm's adopted home. He has strong emotional ties to European golf, and he has been one of the most important players on the team in recent years. Missing that tournament, especially at home, would be an enormous personal loss. And if Europe were to lose without him, the backlash would be intense. Writer Bob Herrig described the situation as absurd. The idea that one of Europe's best players might miss a home Ryder Cup over a contractual dispute about 2 weeks on a schedule is genuinely difficult to understand from the outside. Rahm insists it will be resolved. He has said publicly that he is confident the situation will be sorted before he returns to competitive play in September. But the DP World Tour has not changed its position. 8 other players found a way to accept the deal. The question everyone is asking is why Rahm cannot do the same. A terrible week on the course. All of this off-course drama surrounded a Masters performance that was, by Rahm's own standards, genuinely bad. His opening round on Thursday was one of the worst rounds of his Masters career. He shot a 6 over 78, making 4 bogeys and a double bogey. Most strikingly, he did not make a single birdie in the entire round, the first time in his Masters career that had ever happened. He recovered somewhat on Friday with a 2 under 70 to make the cut. But Saturday brought another struggle, a 1 over 73 that left him well out of contention. He played his best golf on Sunday, shooting a 4 under 68, but it was far too late to matter. He finished the tournament at 5 over par, his worst ever result at Augusta National. Rahm blamed Thursday on bad luck and an anomaly. He said he felt good all year before that round, and that everything that could go wrong simply went wrong on that one day. But his critics, particularly Brandel Chambly, pointed to something larger. Chambly noted that Rahm was hitting 82% of greens in regulation on the LIV Tour, where courses are set up for low scoring, the atmosphere is relaxed, and players are rarely truly tested. Coming to Augusta, one of the most mentally and technically demanding courses in the world, without that pressure testing, Chambly argued, leaves players unprepared. Paul McGinley agreed, describing LIV as a fundamentally different environment. The music, the easy scoring conditions, the relaxed atmosphere, it is what he called gung-ho golf. And that kind of preparation does not build the mental resilience that Augusta demands. Rahm dismissed these assessments. Golf is golf, he said, but his performance suggested otherwise. The legacy question. Jon Rahm won the Masters in 2023. He was one of the best players in the world. He was the anchor of the European Ryder Cup team, a player opponents feared and teammates relied on. That version of Rahm still exists. The talent is still there. But the decisions he has made since joining LIV have complicated the story in ways that are increasingly hard to separate from his legacy. The 6/78 will be forgotten. Bad rounds get forgotten. The question of whether he chose money and pride over his teammates, over his team, over a home Ryder Cup on Irish soil, that question is harder to put away. Harig wrote that no matter how much pride Rahm has, no matter how strongly he believes the DP World Tour is wrong, the optics are damaging. He is the one player who refused a deal that 8 others accepted. He is the one player who might miss the most important team event in European golf because of a dispute about 2 weeks of scheduling. Rahm has said that compromise requires 2 sides to move, and that so far only one side has fully budged. He believes he has already given ground, and that the tour needs to meet him further. The DP World Tour's position suggests they disagree. Where things stand now. The 2026 Masters is over. Rahm is heading home with his worst ever Augusta result, and an unresolved dispute hanging over his future. He says he is confident. He says it will work out. He says there is still time. His teammates are less confident, the tour is less flexible than he might hope. And the golf world is watching a situation that could end with one of Europe's greatest players sitting at home during a Ryder Cup on Irish soil. If that happens, the story will not be about his golf swing or his LIV statistics or his opening round 78 at Augusta. The story will be about a player who had every opportunity to be part of something historic and chose not to meet the requirements that every other player was willing to accept. That is the story Jon Rahm does not want to be his legacy. Whether he can prevent it is now in his hands.